Hi, I'm Emily. I'm going to show you how I made this animation using ChatGPT and CSM's image to 3D. So when generating the image in ChatGPT, you can either upload and reference image, but I used ChatGPT to help me come up with the design that I wanted for the image. So you can see here it's asking me design features on the pistol that I was wanting to create. I ended up adding a charm hanging off the grip. This is completely avoidable, you don't have to do this, but I wanted to. I didn't have a particular image to reference. I asked if it can do a revolver instead, and you see here it's laid out, but it's not laid out how I want it to, so I asked for it to be laid out a bit better, and it lists all the parts to include in this detailed list. I said I wanted the cylinder to be at a certain angle to help show depth when I upload this to CSM's image to 3D. Words to use that might help getting this layout correctly. You can use with all parts laid out on a sheet for image to 3D, or something along the lines of like create major parts on a sheet for image to 3D based assembly. I want it in 3D and no tiny parts, just the major parts, and this might help you get what you want. I uploaded this image to CSM's parts and asset pack image generation. I then go ahead and select the certain parts that I want, and I use the selection tool and the deselection tool to select the parts, and then I mask that image, and then I do that for the rest of the parts that I want generated. So each of these parts will be generated separately, so they will be their own meshes. Set the settings the way I want them to. You can change them off of your preference, and then when they were finished generating, I then took them into retexturing and retextured them the way I wanted to. Here I'm just retexturing the cylinder. I'm adding on the little heart details. I do remove these later, but you can do that in our retexturing tool. Here I am retexturing the trigger. Go in a bit more in-depth retexturing on this frame for the revolver. If you want a more in-depth guide of how to use our retexturing tool, there is a video on our YouTube channel. I'll link it here. Once I get everything all retextured, I then upload each part into a Blender file and I start assembling the revolving gun. So here I am actually using the sculpt move tool, and I'm slightly moving the handle to fit better. The cylinder wasn't completely straight, so I used a lattice to straighten it out a bit. Any imperfections on the edges of the meshes, just so it gets a cleaner look to it. This isn't necessary, but I wanted the gun to have the actual indentation for the barrel, so I went ahead and extruded it inwards. Once everything is set up properly, I then start creating the scene. It's a very simple scene with just a flat colored background, and then I add in the lights and the cameras to make sure the rendering looks nice and lit. Once everything is all set up, I start animating the mesh itself. I wanted things to look like they're getting assembled quickly. So I start to animate all the separate little parts on the gun to come like flying in and assembling themselves. I also animate the keychain so it looks like it's moving with the animation. I hope this video helped in what you can create using CSM. I hope you liked this video. Bye guys!